Welcome to the P-BVUSD Distance Training. Today we're going to be talking about how do I organize resources in Canvas to save time. We're really excited to share this subject with you today. And also just as a reminder that this session is being recorded. And these are familiar faces. This is the distance learning team, and we're striving to build the capacity of teachers to meet all student needs through innovative personal learning experiences online. And today for the objectives, our objectives today are to discuss the purpose of organization and the important changes in Canvas. We want to share the district expectations for Canvas homepages. And also you want to be able to organize your Canvas with modules and other tools. So now I'm going to pass over the mic to Shannon, and she's going to answer why these are so important for you.
Thank you, Jill. Hi, everybody. So why is it important to stay organized? Well, here are some reasons. Keeping yourself organized in Canvas will help you and your students and your parents navigate the LMS much more smoothly. Also, you have control on how you organize your content and your workflow. So organize however works best for you. And most importantly, by staying organized over time, you're going to save time. So time saved equals a happy teacher. All right, guys, the homepage expectations. So the district put out some expectations for everybody's homepage. You can click on this big red button for the original document and all of the details there, but just in a nutshell, we have a little bit of a difference between elementary school and junior high. But for all teachers and students, the students need to log into Canvas at the beginning of each day and have them shut down their Chromebook completely at the end of each day. That helps with updates and the overall hardware health is shutting that down each day. Your homepage needs to have a daily live meeting link, so either Zoom or Meet, whichever you're using, have a link on that homepage. Also include your teacher contact information, including office hours if you're doing office hours, and then links to the day's learning. So you could even just put a link to Clever, so they can click on Clever and then you have all of your resources. It could be a link to Google Classroom if you are using Google Classroom as part of your resources, or even core module links from Canvas courses to get the students to their lessons and activities. Also, everybody will need a daily schedule. And what's a little bit different for elementary teachers, you are going to need a IIC and a speech button on your homepage. So those two things are a must. If you have other programs that your students are in, such as music or something else, you might want to include those buttons as well. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some templates. So good news is there's been many templates made for you guys. If you haven't started on your homepage and you're starting from scratch, you can import a template, and here are some step-by-step directions, and as well as a video. You can also find these directions on our Canvas on our distance learning website. So when you're looking at Canvas, the Canvas navigation menu, you're going to find that there under home pages. All right, so if you are going to import a template, here are your search terms. Shelley Tiffin has created all of these home pages, and she put them into a module. So you would search this up here, P-BVUSD homepage templates. You'll get all of those. You'll be able to preview those templates and import the ones that you want. And the TOSA team has created a couple of more. So these are the search terms you would use for the commons to be able to find these. So let's take a look at what they look like. So if you're new to home pages, you can start super simple. It doesn't have to be fancy, guys. It can just be text and links only. This one's already pre-made. It meets all of the requirements. You can import that in. Or you can get a little bit more in depth. So this is our square layout homepage, where you can see that they have the days of the week, but they also have subjects. And this part right here is going to be underneath, so they'll have to scroll down to find their daily week at a glance with their activities. This one is a simple blue and yellow homepage. This is something that doesn't require any scrolling, so when they land on the homepage, that's what they need right there. You can link this out to Monday through Friday, but just a note, these are all editable, so if you wanted to have by subject on any of these, you guys can adjust those if you'd like to use them. If you're more comfortable working in Google Slides, this is a homepage that can be used. It meets all of the requirements, but the work is done in Google Slides versus Canvas. You just have to get that embedded in the homepage, and you can link all of these different buttons within your slides. All right, this one is really cute. This is our second grade class. It's our banners and buttons homepage. And we even have a Mickey homepage, so getting a little bit more into the primary themes. Junior high looks a little bit different, so this is something that you might be interested in if you're junior high, where it's listing out your periods and your schedules. Again, you don't need the IIC or the speech button for junior high. And so where does that button go for IIC? It actually can go to two places. So our IIC teachers have a homepage that looks similar to this, and each student is identified by a number to protect their identity and confidentiality information. So they can do that. Or some teachers are linking that button to the teacher's Zoom link. It's important to know, though, if you are linking to a Zoom, make sure that your waiting room is enabled so your class isn't Zoom bombed. So putting that button on there, it gives access to everybody in the class to click on it. But if you're an IIC teacher, make sure the waiting room's enabled and only let the student in that belongs in there. All right, I am going to take you out to Canvas. And we're going to click on our homepage. I just want to, before I transition over to Hans, I just want to show you what it looks like in Canvas. This is that one pager where I don't need to scroll. And once you have your home page in, you can link your different modules to your buttons. So I'm linking to Monday, and then the students would go through the different activities. So I'm going to pass it over to Hans, and he's going to talk about module organization that you can connect to your homepage. So over to you, Hans.
Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. So now that you have an idea of how to organize your homepage, you can now use modules to organize Canvas content. So let's do a quick review of what are modules. Modules are a tool that can unify all course content into structural components, like a one-stop shop. So in other words, modules are like boxes of activities that you want your students to access. You can organize modules by content by week, day, or topic. For example, you can have a module called week 4 and use indents to list out the subtasks in the order you want your students to follow. If you want your students to complete material in a sequential path, you're going to love modules. And you get to decide and even require which activities or which steps you want your students to follow before moving on to the next. Modules can also be used to link to course navigation and resources. You can add links to other assignments, discussions, quizzes, websites, videos, documents, and more. And we just happen to have some amazing module masters in Panama. So we're going to take a quick bird's eye view into how they set up their modules. And as we look through this, I want you to think about, what do these modules have in common? And get ready to share in the chat. And we're going to do a bird's eye view really quickly, and then we're going to go into a little more depth into their naming conventions. So let's start with Shannon's, our TOSA, our Distance Learning TOSA, and notice how her module is titled Q1 Multiple Subject. Q1 Week 1 Multiple Subjects. So she starts with a large time chunk, then a smaller time chunk, week 1, and then her subject area. And then Monday is a page, and then she has sub-items for ELA and math. Now let's jump over into Kara Cagle's module. She's a kindergarten teacher from Cybert. Holler out to Cybert. And I'm just gonna close some tabs here. So I'm noticing a lot of her modules are unpublished because these are for her. So this could be like a little resource on Canvas for you to keep track of resources. Like she has benchmark unit 1, week 1, and all of her benchmark resources. But the modules she has turned on for her kinder kids are kinder songs and videos. And then she has math songs and videos for all of her counting videos, an unpublished happy birthday, letters and sound modules, library, and a lot more. So this is, for her students, this is like a hub where they can access all of the learning materials that they need. Or maybe she links out from her homepage to go to those places. Next up, we have Beatrice Palayo, first grade at Castle. And let's check out how she set up her module. So you'll notice at the top that her module says Monday, October 28th, Unit 1, Week 1. She has her morning work, and notice how she has this little heading here to identify cell and the activities below. So she's organizing her modules by day. So every day has its own modules of activities in the sequence she wants her students to follow. Next up, we have Ashley Cervantes, third grade from Stein, and she also has her modules set up by the day. Thursday, October 22nd, cell at the top. She moves on to math, ELA, homework. Next up, we have Oliver Brown, fourth grade Stockdale, but he changes things up. See, Oliver organizes his modules by the week. So we have week 9, October 19th through the 23rd. And then within that module, he has all of the days of the week: Monday bell ringer, Monday math, Monday reading. And each of these are, some of these are assignments he's expecting. The bell ringers, it looks like discussions where the kids can discuss about a particular prompt. Next up, we have Sarah Camp, sixth grade at Berkshire. I'm going to show you her week 8 because it is phenomenal. And down here at week 8, math, chapter 6, October 12th through the 16th. So she's being very specific about the order of her naming. And you'll notice that she has a heading that says chapter 6.4, and then she goes into the items that are indented below. Now, last up is Barry Hayes, who's a history teacher from Thompson. And he does something totally different. He starts his module titles with Q01. What is Q01? Well, that's quarter 1. And then after that is W02 for week 1. And then he puts the subject, class setup. Look at his next one. He has quarter 1, week 2, colonial survival. And then under that, he has his essential question, his days of the week, activities ready to go. So that's the overview. Now, what are you noticing about these module titles? What are you wondering? What do they have in common? I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to drop some ideas in the chat, or if you're experienced with modules, how do you title your modules? What's worked best for you? So 30 seconds in the chat. On your marks, get set, and go. I'm going to pull up the chat and check out the chitter chat. So Jennifer Eggers, she organizes by date and quarter. Thanks, Jennifer, for sharing that. What did you notice about all those modules I just showed you? What do they have in common? Stacy says, by the week with a text header for the days. So instead of having a page for the days, she has a text header to separate those days and the content. Tracy says, week 1 with dates. Wish I added quarter. Tracy, it's not too late. Not too late. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, ladies. I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to move on. So since we're talking about names, what's in a name? As you create your modules and assignments, you'll need to name them, but how important is naming Canvas items? So check out this guy, David Sparks. This is what he says about naming conventions. I'm going to give you a moment to read this. So he's talking about how you name your files, like in your drive and your folders and things like that, but that logic can be applied to Canvas content. Just think, next year, if you use these same items, will you be able to find what you're looking for? Will a module that's titled Monday give you all the information you need on when and where to use it in the future? So like, oh, well, if I have modules called Monday, and then I have like 20 Mondays, they're all Monday. I don't even know what to make of them. So here's some of the naming conventions that we saw. We saw some of those modules, those big bucket headers, Monday with the date, Unit 1, Week 3. So using the day of the week, the date, the unit, those types of things. And remember Barry, he was using quarter 1, week 2, and notice how he's really abbreviating this, so it's super short. So some things to think about. This one's super long, but super detailed. Like, I know exactly what this is all about and where I would use it next year when I'm planning. And then here's some other ideas to consider. Subject area, you can have naming conventions like that. And then looking in the deeper dive into Shannon's naming conventions for her assignments, quizzes, and discussions, she uses ELA, Unit 1, Week 1, Day 1. If that's how your curriculum is lined out, why not match that to your naming convention? Love it. Next, we have Beatrice, who has those headers to separate her content, but she also uses these little emojis so that her first graders can identify the task that's being expected. And module naming is almost like outlining on a document. So your main header is ELA, or that could be your header within the module. And then your sub items are listed out in the order that you want them to go. So you could actually lesson plan on a Google Doc and just copy and paste these over as you're making your content. And then let's look again at Oliver. Again, for his assignment, it's Monday/math and this. So maybe he's using this over and over again, but each time he's making a copy, he's replacing the content. But in the future, will he be able to know what's in this Monday math? So, and then we have Sarah, who is very, very specific. Unit 4, Week 1, teacher resources, do not publish. And if you could see that over here, it's not published. And then for what the students can see, Unit 4, Week 1, student overview. And you can tell by the type of items that she indented here that one is a discussion for her number talks. Another is a page for student resources. And then another is a quiz that she's grading. And as we're wrapping up our time here, if you're working with modules and you're finding that, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming, I need to move them around, well, there's 3 ways or 3 different strategies you can use to move your modules. One is to move using this little icon. The second is to collapse or expand your module content, or duplicate, send to, copy to. So let me jump into our distance learning sample course here. And I'm going to go to our modules right over here on my menu on the left. And here's all the modules. Now, if I wanted to move this module up, I would just have to look for those little dots that I showed you on the far left. And then I would just click, drag, and move it. Now, if I wanted to see what was in there, this little triangle that's pointing to the right, I would just have to click it to expand the content below. So now I can see all of that content. But as you're looking through and expanding all the content, the more space it takes up. So you may decide, oh, I don't need to see all this right now. I'm just going to minimize everything so I can see all my modules at once. And then finally, if you go over here to the 3 dots, you have some options, and I want to talk to you about those options because this is where it can get a little confusing. There are 3 ways to replicate your Canvas content. And here's some definitions you should know. You can duplicate assignments, graded discussions, and pages in a module within a course, but you can't duplicate quizzes. In fact, if you have a quiz that's an item in your module and you go to your module 3 dots to duplicate that, you will not be able to, it won't be an option because you have a quiz that's in there. So you'd have to remove that quiz, duplicate, and then re-add it. Also, duplicates add copy to your title of whatever you're making a copy of. And then send to is when you send a piece of content to a different user, as long as that user has instructor-based role with managed course content permission. So basically, that's how you would send it to another teacher. That's how you would share it. And then the next one, copy to, is used to copy content to another course. So you're the teacher of your course, you're in your one course, you can copy to another course that you own. You couldn't copy that course to another course someone else owns. Also, the key to copy to is you want to make sure that you rename your content because copying content with the same name will overwrite the previous version. So be warned, be careful when you're copying to. Make sure you're renaming it. Well, guys, that is all the time that we have for today. I'm going to pass the mic over to Jill.
Okay, thanks, Hans. We're going to go ahead and put the link for our feedback, and we hope that you enjoyed this training. But again, we can only improve if we get feedback from you. So please just take a moment to fill out the feedback form so that we can improve. We really appreciate that you're taking the time to do that. And this actually concludes our session.